Hi, I am Javin Kharot, a chemical engineer by profession. You are watching me on YouTube, Javin Kharot channel. Now, today's topic, the impact of petrochemical industries on environment. Now, what is that? Petrochemical industries involve relative complex and high energy consuming process. The sector rapid growth during the 60-year output increase factor of almost 400. Chemicals have become part of modern life, but petrochemicals are regarded as having serious negative effect on environment because of their heavy resilience. Fossil fuel. United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization means UNESCO World Water Development Report 2012 list of petrochemical industries major water consuming sector because of process incorporating water for cooling, sweeting, cleaning, such they could lead to effluent contamination. Depending on type, petrochemical plant pollutant can constitute threat, human health, or web of life that invariably depend on purity of air and water. Despite effort to minimize emission and become more sustainable, remain significant environment and social issue associate petrochemical industries. Sector undergo significant growth, spread emerging economy, namely China, Southwest Asia country or India, because the booming middle class and the increasing demand everyday petrochemical derived product high innovative potential in the advanced petrochemical product for the health, safety and security of the world population means petrochemical industries are likely play a vital future role, significant economic and social benefit, but only they stay constantly vigilant with respect function in a safe, sustainable manner and safeguard environment for future generations. Now, environment impact of petrochemical industries. Significant number of pollutants the fact petrochemical plant receive majority of input from the chemical refinery make the plant major waste producing entity. This is because chemical refinery by definition the process chemical and it allow large variety of different chemical to exit its facility. The practice numerous substance of environment concern release chemical refinery. The chemical generate significant environment concern, air pollution. Many pollutants may emitted from the manufactured petrochemical. This involves release of fuel combustion effluent from the combustion, vast quantity of energy required, as well process went fugitive emission and manufacturing process. However, not only ejected from the plant, this is days petrochemical that environment concern also significant ancillary chemicals they are required to make manufacture product chemical release various chemical may require provide material useful chemical such as solvent catalyst plethora and other chemical substances are used manufacture process itself. Some of chemical use petrochemical manufacture are recognized suspended carcinogen include benzene vinyl chloride, acetaldehyde, butadiene, and furthermore, the petrochemical may be degrade the harmful product upon exposure variety type of radiation. Atmospheric pollution such as nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide are generated from the combustion of fossil fuel that occur during petroleum refining process rather than petrochemical manufacturing process itself. Furthermore, industrial process necessary generate the steam, electricity, hydrogen, other utility required. Petrochemical manufacturing process have their one impact upon air pollution. They are emission, volatile organic carbon associated with the generation steam, electricity and hydrogen. Now, refining petrochemical industries generate significant amount air pollutant emission which may potentially impact environment and human health. Hydrocarbons include volatile organic compound and non-methane volatile organic compound released into atmosphere contribute to stratospheric ozone depletion and formation petrochemical smoke. The factor lead to health problems such asthma, lung disease. In human, hydrogen and hydrogen sulfide are released into air during refinery operation. Hydrogen sulfide is a toxic gas, both flammable and explosive. Nitrogen oxide generated during synthetic fertilizer process and the hydrocarbon present in gasoline may possess potential health risk. Odor complaint from hydrocarbon and hydrogen sulfide are recognized some of the major reasons for industrial and social unrest. Petrochemical industries include cracking, polymerization, heat exchange operations, operate high temperature, resulting generation considerably amount of waste heat. Heat can recover through thermal integration of energy efficiency improvement. Non-renewable energy source can reduce by energy-related emission and the surrounding environment can protect it through the implementation of the proper heat recovery technology. Pyrolysis and cracking operation typically result in the formation undesirable byproducts such as soot and the tar. Incineration of the soot and tar is adopted the destruction unwanted pollutant. However, formation of dioxin, chlorinated dibenzofluoride and cathodes are during the combustion tar could potential problem for the environment human health. During operation, the petrochemical process hazardous waste material produced such acidic and alkaline residue and mercury content waste oil refinery. Heavy metal like chromium, mercury, cadmium and other petrochemical process waste material are not properly managed. They are possess significant risk to environment and human health. Now water pollution. Petrochemical industries great amount of water. Water needed many of the different production phase, chemical, paint, stripper, neutralizer, soaper, phosphatizer and use. Treat most of metal in the following treatment, cleaner and detergent are used to contain detergent emulsifier, solvent, other product are used ultrafilter to take away emulsified material present in water. Mechanical matching product, coolant used to remove heat produced in the machine process. Industrial consumer different chemical treatment before during the cooling process. They are much very needed. If cleaner as well as bacteria used the water, it usually oxygenate in storage tank and must sanitize, stop development of the bacteria. Water also used inside the process. Product use, picking acid, antioxide solution, need soap formulation, alkali, acidic treatment during machine, pigment. All of them washed with water, later treatment at the end of cooling process. Sanitary problem must be controlled. Cooling, water discarded, sewage and usually dilute with cooling system. Water has different pollutant process, petrochemical industries. Most important, oil content which can free in water, disperse, emulsified, corrosive salt, soapy matter coming from cooling, hydraulic, media in suspension, particle and cooling system, metallic particle, cutting mechanical dispersion, limestone, silicate, iron, copper, hydrocarbon, coming from leakage sealing, additive oil and hydraulic oil loop. Bacteria and bacteriological flora can cause the water to stink, produce corrosion. It could be a safety problem. Now, land pollution. The numerous diverse sequence of the chemical reaction initiate petrochemical catalyst. Environment contaminant may manifest similar wide variety form as with air and water pollutant. Byproduct petrochemical reaction may location the factory and carried out transport process. Adsorption, analysis, biodegradation, filtering employed in some intents eliminate harmful byproducts. Some of the vast virtue of their composition, harmful characteristic may unsuitable for degradation by many known methods. On the other hand, some of less harmful waste of the small chemical industries accumulate, contaminate soil, all disposal. Such accumulated material concern both environment, regulatory personnel, and the primary advantage soil depository for the byproduct that owning lack of movement, environment spread, cost transportation, contaminant matrix, repeated site, degradation problem. Now such oil waste accumulation do have potential ecological effect. Solvent spill, fluorinated hydrocarbon emission, stream inappropriate reagent utilization contribute significant fraction. Soil contaminant problem. Observe chemical plant. Extreme example, significant import of the Venice include the chlorophyll, incomplete reacted monomer and isomonomer, unreactive, incompletely copolymerized, acrylate, urethane, propolymer system, diethyl glycol, dibutyl, tricarboxylate, dibutyl penthalate, and NN dimethyl acetamide and triglyceride phosphate, dioxin, dipropylamine, diethylamine, and dicyclohexacarbonamide, NN dimethyl formaldehyde, and methyl methacrylate. The spectrum of the compound report literature. Initial assess study covered the common industrial pollutant, potential non-geotoxic carcinogen and carcinogen. It is typical only later class and some extract aerosol antifreeze mixture. Positively identified significant experimental contribution. Insurance law, which is somewhat expected, particularly antigenic compound as they more indicative actual manufacturing process pollution. Now, climate change. Climate change, one of the important issues, energy and industrialization, especially oil and gas. Following coal, all through production of oil and gas is important as the use of oil and gas climate change. They are used to fuel and those release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. This is not only increase energy demand, carbon dioxide emission into the environment. Amazon could reduce, improve energy efficiency and using renewable energy. Even if reduction achieved, carbon dioxide emission will not be sufficient. The global reduction, they are required stabilization atmosphere. Therefore, reduction carbon dioxide emission and fossil fuel sources will still be needed. On the other hand, the cement industry is a major source carbon dioxide emission. One of the most important release carbon dioxide during cement manufacturing use fossil fuel and barrier, preheater, cyclone, calciner, clean fuel, rubber tire. Moreover, industries' largest sources CO2 emission are the iron steel industries. Major CO2 emission sources, the emission occur two forms. One during production of coke in the blast furnace and supply fuel, other producing the furnace process. As result, process substance converted to molten pig iron. Additional coke or hydrogen is obtained iron ore, and from flame which heat furnace, CO2 contain approximate 90% oxygen. The emission are considerable. Coal, wood, coke also heat the coke oven, the chamber in which coal is heated, finally transformed. Coke, also petrochemical and chemical industries, one of the most pollutant activity, involve combustion, hydrocarbon and release large amount of carbon dioxide air. The mainly emitted energy and raw related used in production. Now, all the region petrochemical industries are operate various problems associated resulting activity. Some of the negative effects associated active are variable and depend on specific region. The technology chosen petrochemical product, the impact can be felt of a huge macroscopic and macroeconomic scale, macroscopic scale, affecting everyone, everything, industries, with most of study focused mainly impact environment and economy. The global impact of the petrochemical industry society should be well investigated. Many country development, existence, petrochemical industries are essential economic, social, political conditions. Many regions, the character of the petrochemical industries impact cooperation mechanism, the social and regional life of the region, every dynamic, they are related, stage of development industries, sector and structural of the economy and social development, regulatory principle of inter-branch relation and settlement distribution, day-to-day, long-term impact, petrochemical industries on social, region, development, different depend on rural, urban, metropolitan status and state of interaction, different regional, cluster and petrochemical industries region, rule tend to zero production complex and heavy industries, future of heavy industries, strength, the social, regional development, on other hand, is slow down, reduce level, control, program and logic and plan action that transform negative consequences or reducing potential harm to minimum. Certain diseases they can transform into parametric advantage. Health effect. Health effect of the primary health effect are the trace substance in the petrochemical industries environment include reduction, other neutral behavior deficient and increase incident of the cancer, most cases due to lung cancer and increase the miscarrier and decrease fetal growth, various types of the deformity and increase prevalence of the infertility in changes, menstrual cycle and pulmonary the disorder such as asthma, chronic bronchitis, increase incident liver disease and onset of the analytical cancer, cancer susceptibility in children also observed. The fetal growth of the distribution, higher exposure associated with reduced, even in higher exposure associated reduces fetal growth. Now, dying DNA are the suspected that causes cancer, including benzene, oxoxylene, N-dimethyl acetaldehyde, N-dimethyl formaldehyde, ethyl benzene, propylene dichloride, and other. Furthermore, the substance might release together mixture of the other include volatile such toluene, acetyl, methyl, ethyl ketone, isobutane, and decomposition produces chronic, prolonged exposure, extended period of time. Now, petrochemical complex have both positive and negative impact. The positive impact arising direct and indirect income, generated employment and effect public revenue have the price of the reduced labor supply, traditional export sector, as well as increasing urban cost and unemployment level in traditional sector impact ethylene complex demand, the aspect, startup point, external factor, other investment, maintenance, marketing policy, the impact will be high region ethylene content, one consumer, co-product produce, the downstream fuel is marketed, industries carry out activity if low maintenance and operational cost, appropriate maintenance and marketing structure could compensate lack of link between the ethylene complex and regional economic activity. High regional income employment could be retained chemical and petrochemical company. Specifically, development program should include phase local salt dump using available resources and low priority investment, resilience region, reduce growth rate and use underground space under determining sticky business cycle based on primary raw material. Now, the present petrochemical industries are certain rural commitment significant dispossession of the community, oil palm, plantation, expanding survival right of the negative track have been the village and house and migrant, labor force, employed, oil palm, plantation, the present either, except the low wages, they could move out in the remaining forest area as more and more companies rent the concession land. Existing native tribe will left even less finally. The present setup figure were involved shifting cultivation and the forest, however, the fertile due to the existence natural resources consisting hundred of the spices, fruit, herb, government policy extended give full support of the petrochemical industries, but cost of policy is high, not only term financial burden for the economic growth nation, but respective because of the pay, the well-being and living condition of the community are close petrochemical plant. The success of petrochemical industries expands internal exclusion. Such industries not only disposes people by extra polluting and depriving them the basic resources and means to survive, but also introduce control over certain class people by destroying the existing social and economic system present forced with live their traditional environment, search livelihood, alternative, relocate rural area, and however their common habit, work site, the benefit transferred and wealthy populations. Now, the collective opinion argue that despite any ideological position, may future peace transmission, new energy future, different form, mobility, need to get challenging near-term reality. The petrochemical industry sector, common with profound structural change. These challenges involve exponentially increasing complexity, many different dimensions, and naturally they are rest of complex, combination different event, factor dynamic, and interest in the micro and macro level. The challenges also involve high-level feedback, other economic sector, wider society comprises different people and single stakeholder can solve the situations. The global environment can fix entire problem. World nature, Europe, Italy, model and homogeneous representation, economic sector model, facing very different challenges, delay related to development, hydrogen and electric technology in sea, heavy industry, steel, chemical, glass, ceramic, process machinery, production, rail transport, international shipment, aircraft, fuel, imply the transmission, carbon naturally require particular complex solution over medium term will not have significant impact until least 20, 30 years. Overall system complexity decision maker heavy, simply that push other required mitigate the delay, relation impact, corporate perspective and long-term vision. Okay guys, this is up to our today's topic, the impact of petrochemical industries on environment. I hope you get sufficient knowledge after watching this video. Next Sunday we have covered some another chemical engineering topics. Till then, goodbye.